So Aori asks him about Akari, and whether everything that he remembers is the truth that happened yesterday and what happened to his dear sister. The hammer guy doesn't reply, which speaks volume, and simply hands over Aori's phone back to him, and he immediately searches up his sister, only to find that no account with that name exists anymore. The hammer guy informs him that dead accounts are the result when the social media account of a deceased person gets possessed by the ghost. So when the ghost is exorcised, the dead accounts disappear automatically. Aori is heartbroken and asks whether he will never be able to talk to his sister again. And the hammer guy replies that it's kind of a common knowledge that dead people can't talk. To his surprise, Aori takes the news suspiciously well, as he smiles, claiming that it's okay if his sister died since the illness was not leaving her anyways. He claims that he made a promise to his sister that he would look after himself, so he should better start doing that, as there is no point getting all weepy and sad about something that can't be changed. The hammer guy replies that it's very obvious that Aori is simply trying to put up a front, and he finally introduces himself as Cuckoo. He starts moving out of the room and tells Aori to follow him. They soon venture out, and Aori thinks that they are at a very pricey hotel. But Cuckoo replies that they are at the Medan Academy, which is a school for exorcists. Aori can't believe that this super fancy place is actually a school and claims that the room they were in looked just like the honeymoon suite of a hotel. But Cuckoo replies that it was his own room, as every student in the school live on the campus itself. He claims that the school was built intentionally to look like a hot springs hotel, to emphasize on the fact that the students of this school cleanse the world from evil. As he walks through the campus, a blondie walks past Cuckoo and makes fun of him for dropping the ball last night and almost getting killed. But Cuckoo ignores him and moves on. The blondie goes towards his friend group, where they start talking about the newest recruit and how he is a rage bait YouTuber. One of the people in the group claim that they hate the rage bait YouTubers more than anything, as they are just as annoying as Jake Paul himself. But the blue-haired girl in the group takes a liking to Aori, thinking that he looks pretty handsome. Cuckoo gives Aori a whole tour of the school, from the cafeteria to the shops, to the reception and even the hot springs. But Aori can't believe that this is a school and continues to think that this must be a prank and this is just a hotel. Once inside the hot spring, Aori realizes that his wounds seem to be healing up at a dramatic speed, and the soothing nature of the spring starts relaxing his body, which scares him, as he might start crying for his sister if he is not careful about it. He immediately starts splashing water in his face to get out of the relaxation mode, while Cuckoo wonders where the leader is. To their surprise, the leader, named Zaki, suddenly erupts from the water with his dong flailing around. He claims that he is a monk who is also a teacher here, and shakes Aori's hand. Once inside the room, they all get dressed apart from Zaki, who stretches his body out in a towel, while Cuckoo tells him that he has shown Aori around the campus just as he was ordered and whether he can leave now. Zaki tells Cuckoo not to take this as a chore and enjoy this, but Cuckoo claims that he feels like this is the punishment for dropping the ball last night, because he hates all rage bait YouTubers as much as anyone. Zaki completely ignores him and turns towards Aori, asking whether he is ready to enroll in this school now and become an exorcist. Aori is a little stunned at first, but then starts laughing alongside Zaki, thinking that this is some sort of a prank, while Cuckoo asks whether Zaki is trying to rub salt to his wound. Zaki tells Cuckoo that he is inviting Aori in good faith, since he awakened his powers last night and can be an asset to the school. Aori is a little confused about the powers, so Zaki explains that the exorcist profession goes back a millennia, where the exorcists have been in a constant battle against the malevolent spirits. He claims that the exorcists employ special techniques for unleashing spiritual energy known as psychokinesis. But everything went through a major evolution after the introduction of the internet a couple decades ago, which turned the cyberspace into a breeding ground for these spirits and ghosts, as they started materializing through social media, which sent the exorcists into a panic, as the techniques that they developed over the hundreds of years were of no use against these so-called ghost accounts. While Zaki was explaining everything though, Aori decides that he doesn't really care and stretches out before leaving the room and checks on Google Maps to see where he is and whether there is any sightseeing locations he can visit before leaving back for his home. Zaki immediately stops him, asking why the hell is he running away, and whether he is not curious about his own abilities and what exactly happened yesterday. Aori replies that he seriously doesn't want to know anything, nor is he interested in getting involved with the ghosts and exorcists business. He claims that he simply wants to go back to his own life, get a normal day job, eat healthy every single day, and sleep on time if possible. He is never even going to start back his YouTube channel, as the only reason he did all that rage baiting was only to get enough money so he could help his sister through her treatment. But she is no longer in his life anymore. He has no reason to actually revive his channel or ever show his face on any social media accounts ever again. He claims that he is completely empty inside and would like to spend some time alone by himself while drinking some good boba tea. With that, he starts moving out. But Zaki catches up to him and asks whether he is not curious about what actually happened to her sister and who is responsible for her death. This immediately catches his attention, and he turns around to face Zaki, who smiles, claiming that his sister didn't die just because of her medical condition, which was stable for so many months at that point. He claims that his sister was murdered by a very powerful ghost account. Aori's face darkens as he remembers the plea of his sister, as she begged him to help on her deathbed when she wasn't able to breathe properly. Zaki claims that the ghost account that is responsible for the death of his sister always targets people who have very strong ties to this world. And whenever these victims die, they always shed tears of blood, just like his sister did when she passed away. Angrily, Aori asks where the hell is that thing right now, and Zaki asks what the hell will he do even if he knew. Aori replies that he is going to kill that ghost account in cold blood, but Zaki simply smiles, mocking him as he claims that he can't do shit since he is too weak. This angers Aori beyond any measure, and he throws a powerful right cross towards Zaki, which gets intercepted by Cuckoo at the last moment. Aori tells Cuckoo to get out of his way right this instant, as he is going to pummel this idiot monk teacher who thinks he knows all so much about him. Cuckoo replies that he is an idiot of a teacher, but he is still his teacher. Zaki tells them all to calm down and proposes that if Aori manages to defeat Cuckoo with his current power level, he will acknowledge Aori's strength and tell him everything he knows about the ghost account which was responsible for his sister's death. Cuckoo seems to be excited about this, as he has wanted to beat the crap out of a rage bait YouTuber, and immediately takes out his hammer from his phone with a smile. But Aori doesn't really seem to care and immediately goes after Zaki once again. But he manages to dodge out of the way and starts running, shouting at Aori to fight with Cuckoo, not him, while Aori chases him, claiming that he is not here for his bullshit games, as someone he cared about the most in this whole damn world was murdered. Before he could catch on to Zaki though, he gets slammed in the back by Cuckoo, who drops him to the floor and tells him to shut the hell up, as his little misfortune doesn't make him special, as this is a very common story in this academy. Cuckoo realizes that Aori would not fight against him so easy, so he decides to rage bait the rage baiter by claiming that slamming him with a hammer felt even better than slamming his sister last night. That was enough to get Aori riled up, who gets up on his feet and tells Zaki that he will get all the details from him once he beats the crap out of this hammer idiot. With that, Aori immediately rushes towards Cuckoo and tries to elbow him, but Cuckoo manages to block that with his hammer and pushes him back. This commotion attracts all the students walking through the area, and they stop by to watch the result of this fight. Aori immediately lunges in for another punch, but Cuckoo dodges it and the following straight that Aori throws at him. Kyo, the goth girl, claims that this feels like a K-drama where she is forced to watch a rage baiter and a hammer idiot who thinks he is too cool. Hio, the puppet student, claims that it's not every day that they can see the rage bait YouTuber fight in real life. Ren is also impressed by Aori's abilities, as it is not everyone who could stand against Cuckoo in brawl. Imo is the only person who wants to stop the fight, as it can't end up well. Back in the fight, Cuckoo hits Aori with another hammer slam, but Aori is not a bitch and manages to soak the damage with his block, but realizes that the strikes are very strong and one misstep can cost him the fight. Aori decides to take a step back and dodges to make some distance, but Cuckoo throws his hammer and hits Aori straight in the face. The commotion attracts the attention of other teachers as well, who start assembling, and even the principal herself arrives to see what the fuss is all about. One of the teachers tells the principal that they need to stop the fight at once and get Aori out of this academy, as his reports are not good from what he read. The principal tells him to shut his bitch ass up and watch. Cuckoo tells Aori that he is loving every moment of beating a rage baiter up, and Aori again screams that he only did that to save his sister. Cuckoo is not convinced though and slams him in the face, claiming that there were other ways of earning money, and he just did that because it was easy and he enjoyed doing that. Aoi stops defending himself and Cuckoo manages to pummel him again and again with his hammer before using one of his special moves, which converts his hammer into multiple copies and throws them all at Aoi, knocking him down to the ground, helpless and beaten. Zaki appears on top of him and smiles, claiming that he is a scrappy fighter, but against Cuckoo with his powers, it's like bringing a fist in a gunfight. With that, he guides Aoi to take out his phone and channel his magical energy to even out the playing field. Aoi follows his instructions and takes out his phone, and immediately a blue flame erupts out, which shocks the crap out of every single observer, including the teachers. While Zaki claims that he almost didn't believe Cuckoo yesterday when he claimed a blue demon flame. Zaki reminds Cuckoo not to touch the flame, and Aoi gets a little confused and wonders why everyone is acting so scared. Zaki tells Aoi not to worry and simply try to use it. To everyone's surprise, Aoi tries to use the flame on his feet, which gives him immense speed, but while running towards Cuckoo, he ends up tripping and falls flat on his face. Even Zaki is surprised, as Aoi was too fast for even them to see him properly and could have ended the fight if he managed to control himself. Aoi is not done yet though and rushes at Cuckoo once again, confusing him with speed, and almost connects a punch that leaves a streak of blood across Cuckoo's cheeks. This annoys Cuckoo, who starts swinging his hammer at Aoi, who dodges everything, but just as he thinks he can beat Cuckoo, he gets completely outmatched as an angry Cuckoo increases the size of his hammer because he is a grower not a shower, and almost blasts Aoi into smithereens. Aoi barely dodges, but Cuckoo launches another attack, which would have been the end of Aoi, but Zaki jumps in between, and with the flick of his fan, he deflects the attack, telling Cuckoo that he went too far there. With that, he turns towards Aoi and apologizes for getting him all riled up. But Aoi apologizes right back and begs Zaki to take him into the academy so he can find his sister's killer. Zaki smiles after seeing the true tears of Aoi coming out finally and accepts his formally into the Miden Academy. Soon after that, Zaki gives Aoi what he wants. He shows him an old video of a team